Hey guys, just wanted to just kind of get a couple tidbits of information here to you guys. First off, our captains, we're excited. We have 6 captains. They were selected by their teammates, which is one of the biggest honors that you can have as a football player, is to be selected captain. Obviously at Ohio State means even more because of the great ones that have come before. Thayer Munford, Cam Babb, and Chris Olave on offense, and then Haskell Garrett, Zach Harrison, and Terraza Mitchell on defense. And good mixture of guys, and so we're going to count on those guys to be leaders for us. But some of our greatest leaders actually in the last 5 years at times weren't captains. So challenged our team to make sure that even if you weren't named a captain, doesn't mean you're not a leader. And so we need great leadership into the season, and that'll dictate how far we go into the season. The other thing is, we are going to name C.J. Stroud the starting quarterback for the Minnesota game. So he will, work hard over the weekend, and then into next week start to prepare for Minnesota. I thought he, over the body of work between the spring and then also through preseason, separated himself with his decision making, his leadership skills, his accuracy, and so now we got to go prepare to go play a game. But proud of him, happy for him. The other guys in the room understand that this is a long season, and that room has to be strong. We know at Ohio State that it takes everybody in that room, so that room needs to continue to work. It's a long way to January, and that's been the message. And the focus has to be to continue to be about development, but also to encourage the other guys in that room. And so I think they understand that. They've been communicated to that way, and think that that whole room has had a good camp, and they have gotten better. So still a lot to improve on, and a long way till we get to January.
We're going to go ahead and open it up for a few questions. Front row, second row, middle. Dave?
Ryan, how did CJ react? Is he kind of a stoic guy, or did he kind of celebrate when you gave him the good news?
I mean, he was excited for sure and fired up. He's not an overly emotional guy in those types of situations. I think he knows that this is just an opportunity. It's not an accomplishment. It's an opportunity, and I think he looked at it like that. So now we got to go about the business of going to put it on the field.
On the flip side, was it a difficult decision with the other guys? Obviously, I'm sure you're telling them, like you're telling us, you're going to be needed this year, but was it still a difficult decision, though, when you talk to the other guys?
I mean, I think it was the right decision for sure, and they've all been communicated on what they've done well because they've all improved, but there's certain areas that they need to continue to improve on. And it's all about development. And everybody's journey, especially in the quarterback world, is different. When you think about some of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, it didn't all come at once for them. So you just never know what's going to happen, and so those guys have to continue to work on developing and get ready. But I got to tell you, I've been impressed with their approach to it, their response to it, and they're ready to continue to work.
Second row right. Joey?
Ryan, do you have if CJ were to go down or be hurt in that first, do you have a guy you would turn to next? What's the kind of the rest of the pecking order in that?
Yeah, we're going to just keep working through this week to see how the guys do, and that's a big part for Kyle, for Jack, for Quinn, for all the guys in that room to continue to work. And then, we'll kind of, as we get into the game week, we'll kind of figure out what that is, on a week-to-week basis. So again, there's a lot of development still in that with those guys, and they'll continue to work at it. And as we get closer to the game, we'll probably put that together.
Second row middle. Bill Rabinowitz?
Yeah, about the captains, probably the biggest surprise was Cam Babb. First of all, can you update his status in terms of injury, and what does that say about him that he would be voted one of the captains?
One of the more amazing stories I've been around. This is a guy who has been through 4 ACLs. He's currently unavailable, but he came up and spoke to the team last week about what resilience means, and that was a word that we spent about 3 days on here during camp. Resilience, something that's a mark of a lot of successful people, is the ability to be resilient and bounce back from adversity and failure and emotional pain. And he is like the epitome of that. He got up in front of the team and talked about how he did do that, how he stayed positive. He's been an unbelievable leader. He set a standard. The hard part for Cam is he really just hasn't spent much time on the field. But his impact has been left already on this program. And I know he wants to leave a legacy, and this is an unbelievable way for him to do that. He could have walked away 2 or 3 different times, and he hasn't. He's stuck with us, and so I'm just really happy for him and proud of him of what he's done already in this program.
And in terms of CJ, I know the expectations you have for the quarterback here. You talked about Heisman Trophy candidate, all the other stuff. How close do you think he is to getting there? How good do you feel about him going into the season right now?
Man, I'm excited about what I've seen in camp. There's been a lot of flashes of really good quarterback play. Now again, we haven't been live, we haven't been tackled. I shared with him that he's going to have to be tough this season. How does a quarterback show toughness while the offense and defensive linemen and linebackers are in there getting taped up and their fingers are battered and bruised and cut and everything? He's going to have to stand in the pocket and take shots. I think he had a great role model in Justin last year, being able to take shots and work through injuries along the way. That's going to be a big part of what this season, presents for him. But I'm excited about what we've seen for sure, and he's shown us all the things that we need to see to be ready to go play Minnesota the second with him at quarterback.
Third row left, Dan?
Ryan, what made today the day in your mind to name CJ the starting quarterback?
Yeah, we had a big scrimmage yesterday, and that we kind of called it our preseason game. We've been sort of working these last weeks out like game weeks. 2 weeks ago, we had 3 hard practices, backed off for a couple days, had a scrimmage. This week, same thing, kind of like a Tuesday hard practice, Wednesday hard practice, backed off Wednesday. Thursday we went out to the Football Hall of Fame, which was really a great experience for our guys to get a change of scenery, but we practiced in helmets there. But then to turn around, we gave them the night off. But then to have the preseason game, it's kind of the way we did it over in the stadium. Noon kickoff. It was really hot. We went through the whole pregame routine. We got over 100 snaps in total. A lot of them were tackling. And I think that the whole goal was who's game ready, who's ready to go play in this game. And I thought, we had a bunch of guys who are game ready. Not everybody, but I think this was kind of that line of demarcation of where everybody's at. CJ graded out a champion and played really well in that game, and I think he solidified his spot.
And I wanted to ask specifically about Kyle coming in as a first-year guy. Obviously CJ and Jack kind of had a leg up being a year in, but just where are you at right now in just your evaluation of Kyle, and how much did he, challenge for that job?
Well, first off, he is a year behind, and I would say where he's at right now compared to some of the other freshmen we've had at quarterback here since I've been here, he's probably further along than those guys were at this point. Those other guys have a year upon him. He's kind of closed that gap. He's made some really good decisions. He's thrown the ball well. He's also learning. I mean, this is Ohio State, so it's very, very competitive, and the stakes are very, very high. I think he's got a very bright future. And I think if he just continues to get better every day in practice and learn from his mistakes and be resilient, then not too far into this season, he's going to be more game ready than he is right now, and that's the goal.
Right next one, Bill?
Ryan, Garrett Wilson was on BTN the other day talking about kind of CJ's touch and how he kind of just drops that deep ball on guys, and then talk to people who worked with CJ before he got here to talk a lot about his anticipation as a thrower. Just wondering kind of what's impressed you with how he's thrown the ball, I guess in the spring out of this game.
I mean, that's a trait of a quarterback that we look at is anticipation, because that's important. Strong arm guys who just have to wait for people to get open typically don't last that long. But he's a guy who has a strong arm and he has accuracy, but he does have anticipation and touch as well, which those things are really good traits to have. I think he's kind of surprised everybody with his athleticism. I think that he moves well in and out of the pocket. He can pull the ball and run. He can extend plays. I think his preparation's been excellent. I think he has a reason for what he does. When the ball goes somewhere and maybe it shouldn't, he's got a reason why. And those are all good things. When you come back after the play and you don't have a good reason why you went there, that's not good. If you have a good reason why and you have a good thought process, we can build on that, and he does. And so I've been proud of the way he's gone to work, and really hasn't said a whole bunch about this whole competition, just kept his eyes on getting better every day, and because of that, he's our starter.
Over to the right, Austin?
Ryan, when that competition part ends, what does it mean for the way you communicate or talk to CJ, the way the amount of reps he might get, the focus? What changes now?
Not a whole lot with the way we're operating on a day-to-day basis. When we go to start game planning, that'll be a little bit different, in terms of installing things. But in terms of the reps, he'll start, and it really kind of started a little bit towards the middle of this week. He started getting the majority of the 1 reps because he needs to get that timing down with Chris and Garrett and Jackson and Brock and everybody with the first group. He maybe won't get all of them, but he'll get the majority of them, and then the other guys will also get reps with the 2s.
I'm sure for him there's relief. Is there for the coaching staff that part is over? I mean, there's got to be a lot of pressure that goes into this decision.
I think the anxiety is, do you have a guy that you feel great about going into the game? And we do. So I think that part is exciting and a relief. But now we got to go play, so it doesn't really mean anything until we get on the field. The only thing it means is he's taking that first snap of the first play. We're going to road, but there'll be a lot to process for him in that game. And so, good news is we got a really good group of guys around him. We'll put a good plan together. Gonna have a good defense to support him, good special teams. So because of that, he can feel secure knowing that he's got a good team behind him. He doesn't have to play extraordinary; just has to make the routine plays routinely. And if he does that, then he's gonna be doing his part.
Second row right, Tony?
Ryan, obviously you know all you need to know about with the quarterbacks, but how much feedback do you seek out and how much do you get from the players throughout camp about the quarterbacks?
We're always talking because in the passing game, it's everyone has to be on the same page. And because of that, there's a lot of back and forth. But I think if you asked our receivers, they're confident in all of our quarterbacks. They really like our quarterbacks. They spend time with them. I think, they really think Jack throws the ball really well. They think Kyle throws the ball well. I know they know C.J. They're getting used to Quinn a little bit, in the short time that they've seen him so far. But I think they all really think that they throw the ball well, and there's been some synergy there, which has been positive.
Head coaches are measured by wins, but you got a guy like Cam Babb who sticks around. Mario McCall said it's hard to leave this place. Haskell Garrett has said the same thing. You're measured by your wins, but what does stuff like that mean to you?
It means everything. I think that at a place like Ohio State, where you have to win every game and it's expected, to build that type of a culture where guys want to be here. It isn't just what have you done for me lately, and then try to medical redshirt them or push them out the door. That's not the way this is. If we're going to recruit young men and families to be here, and we consider ourselves a family and not hypocritical on that, then we have to take them in to the good and the bad. And like with any family, not everything's perfect. There's going to be disagreements along the way. There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. But if we communicate and understand that there's love in the building, then this is what you have. And I believe in having those guys who have been through adversity and shown resilience, because they bring maturity to the young, talented guys in the group. And I think that's the right recipe here at Ohio State.
Back row right, Clay?
Yeah, I realize you're consumed with your team, but have you caught wind of this alliance? Where's that going? What do you know about it? And since your boss is here, maybe he'd like to shed some light on it.
Well, we, in week 3 of camp, you don't really see much more than right in front of you. See the car right in front of you. That's all you can focus on. Gene and I have daily conversations about what's going on, and there's a lot of change going on in college football, obviously. And so we talk about it on a daily basis, and I know that there's a lot of conversation going on, but my focus right now has just been on getting this team better.
Fourth row middle, Pat?
Ryan, you mentioned other leaders beyond just the captains. C.J. starting quarterback, that seems to be a guy you need to lead to some degree. How has he embraced that role, and how, being named starting quarterback, do you need to see more from him in that?
I've seen a lot so far. I've seen several times where when the group had to get called up, he jumped right up in front. So I think he has strong leadership skills, and I think as the starting quarterback solidified, he'll now take the extra step. But he's not afraid to speak up, and that's good.
Third row, got time for just a couple more. Third row right, Tim?
I asked you earlier, a couple of weeks ago, what this offense, what you thought this offense was kind of going to be about. I was asking about like this freewheeling, big time plays or whatever. You said you got to hang your hat on something. Now that you got a starting quarterback, you've been in camp. What is this offense about?
It hasn't changed. It's about balance. We have to be able to run the football. We have to be able to spread the field, and we have to be able to take shots down the field. That's really what it is. And we have to have toughness. We have to win the one-on-one battles, and that's kind of been our philosophy since we've been here. And based on our personnel, it's looked a little bit different year in and year out, but not that much. But we are tweaking it. We have tweaked it. We're going to continue to tweak it as time goes on during the season. You find your identity a little bit as time goes, because you lose some really good pieces and you bring some new pieces in. So, but the focus is always going to be on being tough, running the football, balance, and then spreading the field horizontally and vertically.
And one of the quickie, at linebacker, who would be your 3 linebackers? You put them on the field today. Coming out of that scrimmage the other day and stuff, what jumps out at you there?
I think that's a conversation we have to continue to have. I don't think we're there yet. If you pin me down on it, I don't think I can just give you 3, because there's some guys that have been banged up a little bit here and there. There's guys who have flashed. There's guys who are still working through some things. So that's an area that we're just going to continue to talk about over the next few weeks. Hopefully, get some guys healthy as we head into the middle of the week.
And last questions, fourth row left, Doug.
Ryan, now that you have a starting quarterback, you have two other guys in that competition who are not the starting quarterback. I know there was a quarterback competition in another school the other week. When they named the starter, the guy who wasn't the starter transferred the next day. What's the next step? What are the conversations like with the two guys who are not the starter about them staying at Ohio State?
Yeah, it's been all about development, and those guys, you know, they're in it for the long haul, and they've been great teammates, and they know the focus has to be on development. You know, we talked about this early on. We knew that there was going to be one quarterback who started against Minnesota. That's the only thing that's guaranteed, and they're all here to continue to work and develop and grow, and their attitudes have been excellent. So that's been their focus. And now listen, when we get to January, and we'll see what the year brings. I think we all come up for air and reassess, and that's all fair, and I totally get it. But right now, I know that they're committed and they want to be here.
And the stuff you're doing, is Quinn working in at all, like the scrimmage on Saturday? Where is he just getting adjusted here?
Yeah, I mean, he started out early on, and we were kind of getting him indoctrinated into the offense and everything like that. He's been unavailable the last couple of days, and so, you know, we'll get him back here, you know, again next week. And it's been hard for him to kind of step in and then become unavailable. But I think the guys have done a good job of making sure that, you know, they see somebody who doesn't have the recruiting class with him, and they've done a good job of reaching out to make sure he's good. But yeah, you know, we'll get him back towards the end of next week, and then we'll get back to work.
Is that like an eligibility thing or just a physical?
No, it's a physical.
Okay. And just the C.J. Stroud, you know, Kyle, you recruit early and get in on. Jack, you're in early and get in on. We know the C.J. story. Just the idea, he kind of winds up being a guy who's later in the recruiting cycle, and here he is in his second year at Ohio State, and he's the starting quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes. That is a pretty amazing, whatever it is, 18, 24 months for C.J. Stroud. Can you just reflect on that?
Yeah, I think, again, it's only a start, so who knows? But we'll see what he does with the opportunity. But yeah, he's a driven young man who, you know, when he sets his mind on something, you know, he gets it done. And so, well, again, I think it's just an opportunity, but could be a good story someday based on how it all shakes out.
Great.